Well, welcome everyone. I'm Del Hornbuckle and broadcasting from sunny Fresno. Welcome to the ninth episode of Many Futures podcast, showcasing the amazing past of miniatures and dollhouses, but also looking to the future where the art and inspiration are going. So my guest today is my second Canadian. Can you believe that? Uh, Tamar Cohen, who's Montreal based. She's always loved miniatures and only dreamed of making them, feeling that it would be too complicated until her sister sent her a 114 miniature kit. That's really small. So Tamara's dollhouse and her miniatures have a beautiful Middle Eastern style that exudes comfort and simplicity and represents a lot of culture and history. And I absolutely loved her posts, just beautiful designs. The designs are intricate and colorful. What she loves most about creating miniatures is that anything is possible. So she can create something that exists only in her imagination, a mini world to escape to. Tamar feels blessed that she can raise her daughter surrounded by creations and magic. I am so thrilled to have you here, Tamar. Welcome. Welcome to sunny
Oh,
Fresno. It's 9
thank
degrees
you
in
for
Montreal,
having
but
me.
this is great. So, how's it going? How's
Yeah,
everything?
it's going great. I'm excited. It's the first time I get interviewed.
Well, let's yeah.
Yeah. And
Let's jump right in.
okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Let's jump right in. Yeah. So
Okay.
so tell me about Tamar Cohen, your background, your daily life, and of course how the miniature bug bit you.
Yeah, and it is. Okay, it's a long answer, and it starts when I was in high school. I learned art, so I used to paint, and I used to do. I was pretty sure that art is going to be my career, my life, what I'm about to do. That was my passion. And then I joined the army because that's what we do in Israel. I was born and raised in Israel. And then it kind of like disappeared. That, that passion, it just kind of stopped there. And when I finished serving, I had no clue what to do. I didn't want to learn art anymore, and then I came across a course for like 8 months, very intense. It was like every day, 8 hours, and it was I think it's called silversmith, right? Goldsmith.
Silversmith, yes.
Yeah, that's what I did
That's
there.
beautiful.
Thank you. So one of the only jewelries I actually have left because it was when I was 22. I'm 39 now, and I loved it. I really loved it. I really loved it, and it was amazing. It was like magic creating all that stuff, and it's actually miniatures if you think about it. Making jewelry, it's basically the same. Just you do that with metal and not like wood or whatever it is that I'm using right now. But after like a couple of years, I decided to just drop it. I totally neglected it, and I kind of stopped doing art. Actually, I decided to learn gymnastics. Totally different
Wow.
direction, yeah. And I finished after 4 years. I graduated, and I did that for a few years. I was actually a personal trainer for like 5 years. And then we moved to Montreal. I met my husband, and he's actually an artist.
Okay.
He does concept art for the gaming industry.
Oh wow. Wow.
So here, the industry of like games, it's amazing what we have here. Every possible option. So we decided to immigrate to Montreal, and a year ago, when COVID started, I lost my job. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do something. I was at home all day with my child. She's 3.5 years old. So I couldn't do much because she really demands a lot of attention. So I decided to build a dollhouse for her, actually, to keep myself busy because I was losing my mind.
Yes.
I was honestly losing. I downloaded Candy Crush, and then I realized at some point it's like that's not how I'm supposed to spend my time. It's like that's awful. So I made it from scratch because I didn't even know there's a possibility to buy a kit, right? So I had no clue about miniatures, nothing. It's the one that's right
Oh,
there
it's beautiful.
behind me.
It's really
She
nice.
plays with it a lot. It's actually,
Yeah.
she loves it so much. She calls it a coffee shop. I don't know exactly why, but so that was actually my first one. I just do not call it a miniature because it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left it completely. And 4 months ago, my sister sent me that kit that you mentioned. It's right here. So tiny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it actually has all the furniture inside.
Oh, my goodness.
After I finished making the furniture and actually blocked it with everything else, I was like, why? Why did I spend so much time making all that tiny 1 centimeter furniture when nobody can see that? But then I
Wow.
realized I can do it. I mean, like, it was like, okay, if I can do this, then I can probably make it bigger, but still a miniature. So that's how I started. Yeah, thanks to her, actually.
Right. And
So
what about
yes.
your dexterity? Yeah, like look, that's really a small scale. You had no trouble tools or anything.
No, it took a couple of days. I was planning for like extending it for like a week. I was like, great, it's gonna keep me occupied. Good. And then I realized like no, it ended too quick. It's like that's it.
That's
Okay, so I'm gonna
that's
have to
very
do
nice.
something else now.
So the bug bit you.
Yeah.
Bug
Oh,
bit you.
definitely.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well,
And
you
it was just the beginning of winter, so I couldn't do like I did some carpentry at home when my daughter got back to daycare. So I did some carpentry, but then it's like too messy and too noisy to do it indoors. And
yes.
in Montreal, it's minus 15, right, in winter. So she actually bought me that thing right on time. So I
Wow.
passed the winter doing miniatures.
Wow. Well, you moved on into social media. So tell me about the origin of Miniature It and what's unique about it.
Okay, so the name is, I don't know, it has no meaning at all. I was just looking for something with miniatures and not too long. And I was like, oh, I know. Okay, so that's the meaning of the name, nothing special. But like my sister, actually, she's the one who kind of forced me to open Instagram. She was like, you must do it. You must have Instagram. I was like, I don't want to have that thing. I want to like be a part of it. She's like, no, you have to. So I kind of opened, and I had no clue. I still don't really know what to do with it. And I'm like, okay, and then what? Like, this keep posting, it's like Facebook. But I already have Facebook, so why do I need both? So now I love it. It's actually, I try to post every day because it's like, yeah, once you're in,
You're in.
that's it.
Yeah, you're in. Yeah, you're in.
Yeah,
Are you enjoying the community?
yeah.
Yeah,
I can
community's
follow
great.
people that I couldn't have meet on Facebook. It's different.
Oh yeah.
Because once you know how to use that thing, it's amazing. And there are so many great artists. There are so many.
So amazing.
Wow. It's like I see their work and I'm like, oh man, okay. They're still a long way to go.
Well, creating miniatures, and you're doing quite well for someone fairly new at this. Creating miniatures and building doll houses. What you've just shared, there's an artistic background, so it's very new in your world. And how are you working in both universes now? Just raising a family and doing
Yeah.
this.
Well, my husband supports a lot. It means that he knows I only cook on Fridays. So I keep the house clean. I do the dishes. I do everything I can. But I only cook on Fridays. I used to cook much more. But And we like my working area is my dining table. But lucky me, we never eat there, only on weekends. So I have it. I can use it all week, and that's what I do. And my daughter already knows that I have all my stuff there, and she's not supposed to touch it. I hide all dangerous stuff, but rather than that, she knows that that's mommy's work. Yeah, I hide the most important things because she's so curious.
Right.
And she can just, oh, what's that, mommy? And no, don't touch it. Children, So
It's beautiful work, beautiful work. And your miniatures and make sure that I'm no architect, but I know the styles that I see, and so please correct me. But it seems as though from what I've seen, and certainly the houses and the boxes, the dioramas are influenced by a Middle Eastern design, an architectural style. So
absolutely.
please talk about that. It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
Thank you
It's
so
just
much.
beautiful
Yeah,
work.
the one is right there is very Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because like my father was born in Iraq, and they immigrated to Israel when he was 3 years old. And the other half of my family was from Spain. So it all kind of combined.
Oh,
right?
yes,
My
yes.
passion to the Middle East, the Mediterranean, Oriental. I'm a belly dancer. So, it goes with it.
I saw the costume. I love that photo.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's lovely.
So that's what happened. I mean, like once you're surrounded, like my half of my family kind of dances. So,
All right.
I was like surrounded by that vibe and the food and the smells and I traveled to Turkey when I was 22 for like a
Beautiful
month.
country. Beautiful country.
I love it so much.
Beautiful
I was
country.
there for a month in like 12 different cities.
Wow.
I loved it. It was amazing. And I really love Europe too. And like I was in Madrid 4 times, I think. And you can find that kind of
Oh, yes.
architecture a little bit there too. And I don't know, I just love it. All the arches and it's just
Well,
like,
very, very much a North African influence. That was the
right.
history.
Exactly.
That was the history.
Exactly. All the, my grandparents on my mother's side, they used to live in Tel Aviv, and they had an old kind of house. They had to sell it at some point, and now there's a building there. But it was so magical. They had a patio with a fountain. It didn't work, right? But it was there. And as a child, I remember just playing there, and they had all those unique tiles on the floor.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And it was so magical with the trees and everything. So as a child, it was like magic to me. I mean, spending time there. So that kind of brought me back to my childhood and to who I am, kind of, growing up in
Yes.
Israel. I wish we had that kind of architecture in Israel. Unfortunately, it's very rare. It's more like Bauhaus in Israel.
Mhm.
But that's the style I really love.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm enjoying when I talk to miniaturists. So much about who you are and your passion, your history, and your family really comes through in your art. It's so
Yeah.
clear, and it's wonderful to see. That's what's great about Instagram. It's really there's a narrative you're telling that when we look at the images, and I just love that. I
That's
love
what
that.
I'm trying to do. I mean, I try to create my experiences, my world, and who I am. I kind of try to transfer that to my work as much
Yeah.
as I can.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that was going to be my next question. You just touched on it. So you're building some amazing miniature houses and just really unique miniatures, and we'll talk about that. So talk a little bit about your process and what inspires you to create what you create.
Yeah, wow, it's complicated because it's kind of a lot. It's the places I've been at. It's the places I would like to be at. Um, I don't know, dreams I have, and movies I watched and TV shows, and it's kind of all there. And then at some point, I just like have a vision. And before I start working, usually I know how it's going to look like exactly. It's like I have it all in my head. And I'm like, oh, no. I know how it's going to look like. I cannot explain that to anybody. I'm like, I cannot really put that in paper. I know how to draw, but I can just not transfer my vision to a drawing or something like that. I just have to build it. And while working, I mean, it just happens.
Well, talk about we'll talk. I have a question about your support and your family, but just is she enjoying? Is she enjoying miniatures? Because we always think now that it's not exactly child's play at all, but I think children are really fascinated by what they're seeing.
She loves it. She really loves it. I mean, like I know when I was not her age, but a little older, there was an exhibition in a museum in Tel Aviv. It's a collection of the one who donated. She actually donated that to that museum. Her name is Helena Rubinstein. And she had, it was a black room. You entered, you saw nothing but those boxes with different worlds. In each one, there was a different world from different time era, and it was like magic. I used to go there all the time, just staring at everything. So I wanted to give my daughter kind of the same experience, and I let her touch it. I even let her play with it a little bit. I have a small mannequin that I made to know the scale. So every time she sees that, it's a pink man that I kind of, never mind. So she just, she puts him to bed and she drops him from the roof and stuff like that. So she's really into touching everything. So sometimes I'm like, no, but I let her touch it anyway, because I want her to feel like she's a part of my world. I don't want her to feel like, now this is not for you, this is for adults. No, I want her to be a part of the magic.
It's a great attitude. It's a great attitude, and she'll probably become a future miniaturist. I can see the bug biting her at some point. No, really, because she's watching you design it, and I think that's very different than just giving her like a Barbie. I don't know if they're popular in Canada. I'm sure they probably are. But those Barbie doll houses that are kind of already built in plastic, and so it's different. So, okay, so here's that moment because I'm just seeing treasures behind you. So let's see what you got. Let's hold up whatever you want or describe whatever you want.
I'll start with the first one I made. Is it okay if I'll just turn the computer a little bit and then, okay. So, yay. The one here is actually the first one I made. You know what? I think I can actually get it closer to the camera here. Just a second.
Sure. And is it lit? It's actually lit.
It has its own light, and I always add another something from a rock because it's on the shelf.
Oh, okay.
And that shelf has its own light. Yeah. I'm gonna just bring it over. Okay. Close to the camera. Okay, so that's the first one I made. And I had so much fun making it, actually. It took 8 days. But I actually worked 4 days a week for like 7 hours a day. Something like that. So I just really wanted it to get done. I don't even know what's the scale of it. I think it's 1 to 12.
Yeah, it looks like it's 112.
Right.
But what is it? What is it? Is it?
It's like a shop.
It's a store. Okay, it's a store.
Yeah. Perfume store.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if you can see there. Like
I got the pictures. That's absolutely beautiful.
Tiny bottles there. So I used to work at a wonderful, amazing store in Israel. It's called the Fairy Forest. And it actually looks like a forest too. I used to manage that shop for a few years before we moved. And I don't know, maybe that's why I started with a shop because it was a kind of familiar part in my life.
Yeah.
And I think I chose perfumes because it was easy to make. I had so many beads at home already, and I was like, yeah, I can use them. And during quarantine, it wasn't so easy to get stuff. So I just kind of used what I had at home. And I was lucky because I always have a lot of stuff. I always have a lot of stuff at home. So I kind of discovering my abilities while working. And when I finished that one, I was actually during making this one, I came across Colin. I wrote it down because I always forget the names. Colin Moore's Fairy Castle. Do you know that one?
No.
Oh, wow, you should.
Okay,
so apparently around the 30s, there was a familiar actress that decided to make a dollhouse. Her dream doll. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard, yes, I've heard the story.
Like it has something like 20 rooms or maybe more. It's huge, right?
Yes.
And it's just amazing.
Yes.
And I came across that phenomenal work. I was pretty naive. I thought she made it herself, but it's not the case.
Yeah.
Apparently, she took so many talented people to create that thing for her that cost a fortune. And I was like, yeah, I want to make something like that too. So I just made one room because obviously I don't have that much money or time or space, right? So I made this one.
I love that. What is that in the middle? I was waiting to ask the question. What is that? Oh,
I love that. It's a
time
machine.
Oh, yes, I love that.
It's a time machine. I mean, we all want to travel somewhere, right?
Yes.
Especially during COVID when you can go nowhere. So I decided to create my own time machine.
I love it. That's really great.
I will try to kind of get it closer, even though it's, you know what, I won't. It's super heavy.
Well, yeah, no. You know what?
That one is actually so heavy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I used the mortar for the walls and everything. Yeah. And it's just like it became a little heavy.
Yeah, it's like cement. No, I'm enjoying you just describing it. I enjoy people.
So I wanted to see how far I can go with like the stonework. And I kind of carved the mortar while it was a little bit wet.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an awful day, I must say. It was such an exhausting day creating all the stonework and then painting it. But after that part was done, it was just so much fun working on that thing because everything else was kind of easy. And I actually started with that time machine, and only after I made all the settings. And the bookshelf was the last thing. Bookcase, it's called, right? Bookcase. That was the last thing I made, and it was so much fun making it. I can actually, it's not connected, so I can kind of try to get it closer to the camera.
Oh, nice. Beautiful. Yay. Very nice.
Yeah, and I wanted it to open. So that actually opens.
So you saying you made that?
Yeah, from scratch. I made everything from scratch. Everything.
Oh, this is just
the shop, everything. Because that's like all the fun.
Yes,
I think maybe that's why I prefer the 1:24 because then I cannot buy anything. I have to make everything myself. I have no clue where to find that scale. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna stick to that scale, then I have to make everything myself.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. So what kind of equipment are you using?
Actually, the story I told you about when I learned silversmith, that gave me a lot. So that's one of my best tools. I use it a lot, and it's like I don't know if you can see, it's just super tiny.
It hangs
you know that one? Okay, so that really, really, really helps for like everything. And I recently discovered that magical thing.
Oh, yes.
You know that? Okay, so
it saves your life. It saves your life.
I made that roof like with like million tiles thanks to that thing that I just discovered. And that's from the silversmith too.
Oh, wow.
You know, like these are very tiny and they get into everything. And you can make whatever shape you want with those. It's kind of very, very helpful.
Are you talking about polymer clay?
No, I use that for wood.
Oh, the wood. Okay, got it.
Yeah, wow. I carve the small things with that, and it's like it's magic. I couldn't have done anything without this thing. And what else do I have here? Oh yeah, that.
Oh yes.
I glue everything with that.
Yeah, that's a fundamental.
It's a thank God it doesn't glue my fingers, but rather than that, it glues everything, and obviously the common day-to-day stuff.
Yes.
Matches and whatever all of us use. Balsa, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of basic. I sometimes find on the street MDF. People throw molding. So I collect everything, and that's made out of it. This one is made out of it. It's like I use it for the base, the MDF. So yeah.
So well, before we go to the nice patio area there. So back to the time machine, which I kept studying the photo. So yeah. I just love it. Tell me how is that brass or tell me how you made that.
I didn't bring that one to the room. Okay, so I discovered that there's a copper foil tape. It's amazing. That thing is brilliant. So I used the copper for the upper part. I just placed it on some piece of plastic that I had. And this tube is actually a box of pills that I had at home too. And it has lights in it. It comes from the floor, from underneath. And what else? I just collected every piece of metal garbage I have at home. It's like, I don't know, nails and whatever I could find. I had like a huge bag and I was like, okay, what can I do with that thing? And it just ended up being that thing somehow.
I love it. I love it. And now that I know what it is, I really
it has earrings too. There, pieces of earrings. The one that closes the earring from behind is kind of glued there somewhere too. Yeah, it's a mixture.
I love it.
But that copper tape is I used it for the roof as well. Yeah.
Okay, well, show us this one can win, and I love that one with the time machine. But this one can win a contest easily. So talk about
okay.
This one's just. And so you've got lights there.
Yeah. So I asked my daddy. My parents, they still live in Israel, right? But he's an electrician, and I was like, okay, you're gonna have to teach me what to do. It's like that's the only part I don't wanna touch. Lights. It's like I have no clue how to do that. I'm like, I had really no idea what to do. So he kind of taught me the basic. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to put some lights. So it has lights over here and it has lights behind that balcony and, of course, the fountain. Beautiful. Lights. And they're all operated separately. So there are actually 3 batteries at the back. And what else can I tell you about that?
So you did that. So you did just the typical like wiring, right?
Definitely. One connects into the other, and then to a battery. Yeah, pretty basic. I just wanted it to have lots of light.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I used
It's
the
really
epoxy
stunning.
for the fountain,
Hmm.
and of course beads for all the lights. And oh, okay. So I have a few tricks here actually that I would like to share. For the doors, the carved doors, it's probably hard to see that from that far. I used lace. I just glued the lace and then painted it so it would look like it's carved. And that trick really worked well. And for that piece, the balcony, I used a plastic basket for the, I don't know how it's called, I think it's called mashrabia or something like that. So I used beads, I used uh, lace as well for the small parts here. I kind of used whatever I could to make it look real, and I just painted it wood color. And yeah, I hand painted all the tiles on the floor.
It's just
It
it's
was like,
stunning.
it was like
It's
so much
stunning.
work, but I want to do it just to see if I can. Kind of. So I made out of rubber. I made a stamp. I made three different ones. So I was like doing it one after the other with markers. And what else? I don't know. I just had so much fun actually making it. It was a bit of a challenge to do the arches uh, on the sides because I wasn't sure how to make it without, I don't know, just to make it the same height as the other side.
Balance, yeah.
It was a bit of a struggle, but I ended up like figuring it out how to do that thing. And I took a little shortcut with the tiles at the top. I just used tape. I put I placed them on the tape and then I cut that, and it kind of turned out pretty good because I was too lazy to do it again, like one by one. I was like, no, no way, I'm gonna do it again like that. And of course, these are coffee sticks, the tiny shingles. Is correct, right? Yeah,
Yes,
those are
yes.
coffee sticks. The ones
Wow.
that you get. Yeah. So I don't know how many are there, but a lot.
Used a
And
lot there, yeah.
yeah, and I just painted it. That was kind of the easy part. The hardest part for me was kind of the arches and that balcony that I wanted to really look authentic, and it ended up looking really nice.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And what did you so what's the house made of? Like the arches? What is it? Is it MDF?
MDF.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. It's all MDF. The floor, actually everything, and I just placed mortar on it so it would look like outdoor building. Uh, what else? Balsa mostly, and yeah. Oh, I used the copper tape for that thing too. It's like that thing is magic.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I really love that copper tape. I should buy another one. I almost ended up the one I have. And of course, beads. I love like Oriental kind of beads. They can they can really go anywhere if you paint them, and then they look as if like they're a part of it. Like I use it for those decorations here. Those are actually beads. And oh, that's a basket too. The the raining. I
Wow.
actually used that basket pretty well. It was four
Yeah.
dollars, and it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. Yeah.
Well, it's stunning. It's
Thank
really
you so
it's
much.
it's it's incredible
I
actually.
really enjoyed making it. And
Yeah, yeah.
it took something like 150 hours.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Yeah. Because
Wow.
it was
Wow.
like a month of work and I worked 4 days a week.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
No, it's a beauty. It's a
So
beauty.
it means I'm still unemployed, right? And I don't want to get
Oh,
back to work. I was like, No,
you're doing?
I'm in Florida and it's okay.
Yes.
I'm okay with it.
So this is great. So just shifting gears a bit, what can you share about the miniature world in Montreal, locally, and how does the city inspire your work? Now, let me ask you a question. Montreal, again, you're my second Canadian, basically,
Yeah.
and both cities I absolutely love. Montreal is just glorious. It's really a
Montreal is
wonderful.
beautiful.
It's a beautiful city. Now, what about and I don't speak French, but I manage. You know, it's a
Me
group of
neither.
people I manage.
I don't speak
I
French.
yeah.
I don't. I've been here for like 4 years, and still I'm like, yeah, one day I'm gonna learn.
But
Yeah,
you
it's
can
a
manage.
shame.
You
I
can
can
manage.
understand a little bit, but they sometimes they just speak so fast that whoa, I have no clue what you just said. But people here are very nice and very kind, and they all speak English, so it's easy.
Yes.
It's easy to manage. And as you said, Montreal is beautiful. I love everything about it. I mean, like I love the architecture. I love it feels like Europe in a way,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And I love like I go out of the house and everything is beautiful. Everything is so aesthetic and pretty. The winter is horrible, but rather than that, Montreal is amazing. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any groups or like on Facebook or anything that has something to do with miniatures, and not even a shop. It's pretty sad because I wish there was a community. Maybe there is a community and I just haven't found it yet. I hope I will find it one day because it's like, I don't know, it's nice to be a part of a community, right? So I posted my work in a group of like my area, and people, of course, said like, "Wow, it's so beautiful, it's amazing," but nobody said like, "Hey, hi, I make miniatures too. Let's be friends." Only one person actually I came across that is in Montreal, and she makes miniatures, and it's really, really nice to know. One more person, but I wish there were more. It's a shame there isn't, or maybe I
They're
can just not find it.
Well, they're probably it's one of these things. I was the other Canadian, Roxanne. She's a black woman, and I was saying, for many years growing up, I thought, oh my God, am I the only black miniaturist? And of course I'm not. Right? I mean, of course not. It was the internet once, and I think something about if they're not connected online, because they've
Yeah,
got to be in a city that vibrant. Of course, there are the
exactly.
miniatures, but it's something about the social media and the online. The online piece is really critical to all of this.
I
So
know I know
it's
someone
interesting.
from Toronto, right? But I like in Montreal I know only one person. I think that maybe in time, through
Oh
those
yeah,
groups, I might, come across a few more
I
militaries
think you will.
in Montreal. I hope so.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think you will. That's well. What's been your Instagram experience? You have a great site. Sharing your work in the miniature community. You kind of touched on it, but now that you're really connected, what's been the experience?
Well, I love it. I love every time I get a new follower, I try to see who that person is, and I came across a few amazing artists that way. Of course, I was so flattered, like, wow, he's following my work. Amazing. It feels good, to see who the people are that actually likes what I do. It feels good. And, well, there's still a long way to go with Instagram because I just kind of started. But it's great. The only thing that I feel like I miss a bit is like I don't make videos. Okay, I'm too lazy to make videos, unfortunately. But I'm very good at like documenting the process. I do that with photos, right? So I post it on Facebook actually, and I feel like it's not the same if I post it on Instagram because sometimes people just see the first photo and they don't really kind of look at all the rest of the photos and see the actual process, how I made something. Or maybe it's just me not knowing Instagram well
Mhm.
enough. I don't know. Because on Facebook, it's kind of easy because once someone posts more than one photo, you can see that there are more photos, and then you kind of easily see what else there is. And here, I feel like it takes me a while to understand if there's like more than one photo, or I don't know. It's just me, probably.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you notice what I'm doing, if you notice, I know what you're talking about. Just because I'm nervous about it, and it was too much of a learning curve. Most people use IGTV to create this, like TikTok, to create these little short videos, and it was just
Yeah.
too. I was overwhelmed thinking about it, and so what we're doing is very much old school, where we're video, and then I go back and edit it for
So
hours.
that's the thing. I like it that way. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't want
prefer it.
things to change too much for me. Like,
No.
no, I don't want to make videos. No, leave me alone. But people keep asking me, and like, why aren't you documenting, like, making a video of the process? How you make that? And I was like, I don't want to do it. I just want to work. I just want to make
Right.
videos. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Maybe one day I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe so.
I think people would really like that. I think people would really like that. Yeah.
Because I
Well,
love sharing. I mean, I really love to show how I make something. It's like, for me, it's like magic. Okay, so some people, I guess, don't want to reveal the magic because it's like a magician. It's like, I don't want you to know what I just did. You're supposed to think that you saw something, and it doesn't feel that way for me. I mean, like, I want people to know that I made that thing out of basket. And
yes.
I did not carve that thing. No, I don't know. I like sharing the process. It's all the fun. I see that way.
I think it would be well received. I think people really like that, actually. Yeah. Well, who out there in the miniature community, now that you're a fixture on Instagram, do you really admire, and whose
Oh,
work should we check out?
I wrote it down because I don't remember
Okay,
names.
that's okay.
So what? Okay, so on Instagram, I have Hubert
Oh,
Langdorfer.
wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like, I can absolutely understand why each photo has his fingers in it. Because otherwise, it's like, oh no, that's not a miniature. Come on. It's amazing.
Amazing.
It's
Amazing
stunning.
work.
Like, once you see that, like, okay, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to make miniatures anymore. It's okay. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And one more is it's called micro miniatures. It's just someone I love specifically. I really love his work. It's not that famous, but there's another one which is like super famous. It's like, I build small things.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's another one.
Yeah,
Amazing.
another genius. Once you see his work, you're like, okay,
Right.
I'm happy I did not see that before I started. Yeah. And there are a few more on Facebook that I love. It's like, and as I mentioned, the fairy castle. Oh,
Yeah.
that one really inspired me too.
And what's interesting is I discovered you on Facebook, and then I thought, oh, do you
On
have an
Facebook,
Instagram page?
really?
It was Facebook, and so I've started because of you. I've started really paying attention because I've been focused on
Wow.
Instagram, but now I'm
Okay.
regularly also posting on Facebook because there's a whole other community there,
It's
and some of
true.
them they don't have Instagram pages. I've
Yeah, I
checked.
know. I did
So
check too. A few artists that I really wanted to follow on Instagram, they just don't have the Instagram. So it was a shame because there are like really, really good artists there too. But you can still kind of follow people on Facebook. It's not the same though, but yeah, I guess Instagram is just easier to follow people on Instagram. And it seems like everything is so pretty on Instagram.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
People really try to make it. And sometimes when I post something, I don't know if it's pretty enough, but we'll see.
Right. And some of the posts look like professional photography
I
is
know,
involved. Yeah.
It's amazing. The lighting, everything is just so perfect. And I'm like trying to keep my daughter away, and take a photo of something. We're like, shh, it's a video. Stop talking. Yeah.
It's
We do our
I love your
best.
posts. Well, who's helped you on this journey, and you've touched on this, and who's helped you on the journey, and now supports you, and really has given you the space to live your passion, because now it's a passion
Definitely my
you're in
husband.
it.
Yeah, it is. He knows. He really gives me the space, and he respects that I don't want to get back to work. And all I want to do is make miniatures, and he's really into it. I think he's very happy actually that I started uh, doing art again, because
Yeah,
that's what it is basically. And when we just met, I used to paint, as I mentioned, and when we just met, he showed me his work, and he's so good. He's just really an amazing artist. And I always felt next to him like, okay, I'm not good enough. I mean, I'm not good enough as a person. I'm not, I'm not an artist. Okay, so I used to be, now I'm not. I probably won't ever get back to it because he's just so good. So I mean, I cannot match. Um, but it's not a competition, obviously. And I think he feels like it's, I don't know, like now we speak the same language. Now that I make art myself, I think for him it's like, it's nicer than, you know, being the husband of a personal trainer. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he's my biggest fan and my biggest support,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's a
lucky.
whole other connection, huh?
Oh
Whole other
yeah,
connection you
it's
have now.
true. It's true.
It's
It
great.
feels like it made it even, I don't know, better.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's really great. So, well, what? Let me ask you. What's and this is a question I ask everyone because I want you to. It's kind of a trick question, but I just want to know what you think about it because now you're really in the world. What's one common myth about miniatures and doll houses? And what do you have to share to dispel it now that you really are an artist creating
Ah,
miniatures?
I think it looks like a hobby of old people. um, for two reasons, I think. First of all, it's like you need money and time to do that, right? So who has money and spare time? Usually, older people. And the classic miniatures are like always Victorian houses, mansions, you know. So it just goes together, in my
Yes.
opinion. It was my opinion, right? And then you see different things. I don't know. It's like that's what I'm trying to create. Something that is not traditional, something that is a little, something that is not ordinary, right? So something that will take you somewhere else, not only back in time, right? Like the 14th century or whatever. That's awesome too. I mean, like the vibe, the story.
Yes.
I
Yes.
like it that people try to tell a story and not only make something beautiful, like a Victorian classic house, which is amazing. I love that, and I'll probably do that at some point. But I don't know. So that was my opinion, and kind of like that's crazy. How can you possibly sit down for so long
Right.
and do that? How can you do that? And it's like I was always sure there's no way I'll be able to sit down for more than an hour and just do that. And I can sit down 8 hours, and I only stop because I have to pick up my daughter from daycare. So it's like I don't know. Once you're into it, it's like the tinier it
It's a
gets,
different
it's
world.
better. Yeah.
Yes. 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 Yeah. What would you change about it? That you've kind of answered the question, but what would you change
Yeah.
about it?
I think uh, I think it should be a little more accessible because it's kind of a niche. It's not a classic thing that you see when you go to a museum. Children actually do not get exposed to that. I think it's a shame because once you get exposed to that when you're very young and you realize it's something you can actually do, then you might even start doing that at 20 years old.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
only when you're like, okay, I have nothing else to do, let's try to make miniatures. I don't know.
Right.
I guess so.
Right. Very good answer. I completely agree. And mine, that touches on I think representation. That's exactly what I was thinking. I grew up. I got a dollhouse when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I didn't see any representation. And even I mean, I think if I had to go back again, I'd be an architect because that's clearly what
Yeah.
it's touching on. I love design. And you're absolutely right. The kits that I got, everything that I see when I go to stores, when I got a little older, I'd go to shows, Victorian, little white families. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Only
the
now
representation.
I started seeing black people, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Miniatures. Because there's a fabulous woman. She makes them so realistic. It's amazing. I apologize that I don't remember her name, but it's amazing. And she did beautiful dolls.
Mhm,
And it's the
mhm.
first time I ever came across that.
Right,
Definitely.
right. It's changing for the better, and I think that's great. Absolutely. Well, Sherry, what's your current projects? What's on the horizon?
Yeah, actually, there is one. I
Okay.
started it 6 days ago, and it's right behind me. Let me get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oopsie. I'm gonna fix that
Oh,
right
nothing.
away.
Oh, no.
Oh no, it's okay. It was a part of it.
Okay.
It was supposed to not to fall, but
Okay.
it was supposed to. It's separated. Yeah, everything falls now. Gravity. Okay, so you can cut that.
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so I'm making a wagon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and actually the struggle was to make the wheels swivel,
Look at that.
the
Oh, my
front
goodness.
wheels. So I can just take it apart and show you.
That's
Those are
beautiful.
the front wheels.
So is this wood? Is it,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
it?
Oh, okay. Actually, no. That's a plastic pipe. That part, right? Because
Wow.
I had no clue what to do, like how to do it, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I'll just cut a pipe. So that's what I did. And actually, those
Right.
I don't know how to call the part in the middle. It's metal that you put when you try to screw something and you don't want it to go all the way in, and you
Hmm.
just use these like some words I just don't know in English. So that's the wheel, right? And that part is wood, and that's wood, and that's foam. That part over here,
Wow.
because I had no clue what to do. So I was like, oh, I have foam, I can use it. Yeah. So
Oh,
that's
Tamar, you're so good. This is incredible. Just your
yeah.
imagination. This is like really great.
I
That's
do my
great.
best. And that part is, I use that magical saw to do
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's T-board, I think it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started making the structure,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and it opens. And that part opens separately here.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, it does the sides. So I'm getting there. And nice and slowly, because I really want it to look good. I want.
So it's a wagon and that's sort of the covered part
So
that
that's
you're
yeah, that's
making.
like the structure, but it just so that the blue part that I showed you is the structure is supposed to be. It's like a caravan,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and like
beautiful.
a carnival style
Yes.
caravan. So it's going to be like the caravan and then a tent behind it, but not like a circus kind of tent. It will be more like a fortune teller kind of vibe. So it's going
Love
to
it.
have like a table in there, and I think I'm gonna put it next to the castle. Like it's going to be the outside of the castle. Yeah, I'm gonna make it a bit, you know. Yeah. So that's my current project.
It's incredible. What can I say?
Thank
Just the
you.
process. I
Thank
love
you.
it. I love it. And I'll look
Yeah.
forward to seeing it. So just even if you're not ready for a video, but just make sure that as you go along in your process, you're taking photos.
All
So I
the
hope you're
time, my phone is
okay.
like full of them because I
Right.
try to really document the process for me too, to look back and see how I started. And for people, that follow me mostly actually on Facebook, I find it a little more difficult to kind of share the process on Instagram, as I mentioned. I try. I probably learn through time. But yeah,
Wow.
I think it's part of the fun.
Well, this has just been great, Tamar.
Thank you. It's fine. I knew someone
I
who
keep
just
doing
called
it.
me for a couple of views tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, call me tomorrow.
Well, do you have any final words? You have anything to share?
Am I
Before
going
we
to
go?
die? I'm joking. Final words. Sorry. Well, at some point. I
And you've
will.
got a sense of humor. You have a
I
sense of
had
humor. I'm
tried.
picking up on that.
Okay, so I don't know. No, I think like I said everything I have to say. I don't know. Just like go with it. I feel like don't feel like you're not gonna make it or like it's not gonna be good enough or it's impossible. Just I feel like you should try. You should always try and start with something because you never know. You might like it that much that you're gonna spend all your free time on making miniatures. And
Creating. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I didn't dare. It's just like as I told you, it was my sister who sent me that thing, and I just like had nothing else to do because otherwise I would have never bought that thing. I was like, no way. I'm not gonna sit down and feel like no, I'm not gonna do it. And you just need to try if you like it.
Absolutely. 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 Well, this is just it's been a pleasure. What can I say? And
Thank you so
I've just
much.
learned so much. So let everyone out there know how to connect with you.
Well, through Instagram, I think that's a very easy way. Facebook is also an option.
Well, now, what's your Facebook? Instagram is miniature it at
Right.
miniature it. So what's Facebook for everyone?
It's just my name, Kamal
Oh,
Cohen. Pretty simple.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I really, really try to, how do you say that? Accept every friendship request that I get. It's like, I try.
That's
And
good. That's good.
yeah. So
Well,
that's
it's been a pleasure. It's really been a pleasure, and just you've really gone as deep as most of the other miniaturists. You've really gone through your process, and to find that you're making use of sort of parts that are already available to you, and not buying things. I haven't heard you talk much about buying
Oh no,
anything,
I
and
think the only
I
thing
just
I
think
buy
that's
is the
great.
tools.
That's
Mostly the
great.
tools. Yeah.
That's really
Because once
cool.
you
I
have
love
good
that.
tools, you can kind of do. I buy everything, almost everything from the dollar store. I mean, like the materials, they apparently have, wow, so much.
Really, really, really.
The balls are the cheap for matches, whatever I can.
That's great. Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for this episode. So please check out more amazing photos of Tamar's work on my blog, minifutures.blog. And of course, she's got even more on her Instagram page, miniature it, and her Facebook page, Tamar Cohen. So it's been an absolute pleasure today,
Thank you
Tamara.
so much.
And I've learned so much from you, and thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. Be safe.
Thank you so much.